New York Knickerbockers are NBA champions. Da 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 da. Canyon of Heroes, parade, convertibles, hot chicks in Knick jerseys. The Knicks finally get over the hump and win an NBA title. And there's me, and there's Jalen Brunson.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
There are guys you know are great. We don't know that about Cal Raleigh. It is possible that Cal Raleigh isn't one of the 5 best catchers in baseball by the end of this season. And that's the difference. It's not possible that Aaron Judge isn't one of the 5 best outfielders in baseball. That's not on the board. It's on the board for Cal Raleigh.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This team feels slow. It feels old. It feels uninteresting. It just kind of feels like a lot of guys who are quality ball players, some big contracts, but are just like lethargic when they're out there. Like Manny Machado moves in slow motion. So does Nick Castellanos. So does Xander Bogaerts. So do a lot of these players in this lineup. And I might be piling on a little bit too deep, but this was supposed to be a contender for a World Series.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
There is one cardinal rule in sports media. You do not mess with the game or the ability for people to watch the game.
Prediction Markets Edge on the early line, the place to be, no doubt about it here. New week, new money as we get started, and a new way, if you haven't been watching, to invest your money in stock market type approaches, Joe. It's how we get down to business, giving the people all the options that they need.
And now's the time, Donnie, to start looking at the prediction markets for these series prices and some of the futures. The markets have some great opportunities and some great value here moving forward in not only the NHL, but the NBA playoffs as well.
Donnie, right side, Joe Ranieri, and this is what we do on the Sports Grid Network. So why don't we start in the association? Don't even say, hey, so NBA, man, it's been really bad. Doesn't mean you can't invest, Joe, and come out with a profit. How about this? Toronto at Cleveland. Game number 2 tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Kalshi Marketplace. Cleveland currently trading at a 77% chance to win this game. If you think Toronto can rise up from the 6 and win this game outright, a $100 investment would pay back $417. But if we're looking at the lines here, Joe, 9.5-point favorite by Cleveland, currently trading at 47 cents. So if you feel that Cleveland can win this game by, let's call it 10 points, Joe, a $100 investment turns into $213 in your back pocket.
Yeah, I don't know that Cleveland can win this game. That's the problem here. I do think, again, I think Emmanuel Quigley's health and availability in this game is huge for Toronto. I also know that Brandon Ingram had a lot to say about that first game and that loss against Cleveland. Wasn't happy with how many chances he got, wasn't happy with what was going on. So I do think that he's a guy I would focus on, especially in the points prop world. He had 17 in the game in game 1. But they never went to him. In the second half, Donnie, they pretty much avoided Brandon Ingram altogether, and he wasn't happy. So I would imagine Brandon Ingram probably is not going to see a shot tonight that he doesn't like to take. So I'd be looking and focusing on a guy like him, and they're going to need him to have a much better game than 17 points if they're going to have a chance to stay within this number or win.
Looking at some other players there, certainly on the Toronto Raptors, which would include Scotty Barnes. You feel like he can get 20-plus points in this game tonight, Joe? A $100 investment would actually pay back $239. Let's go over to the ice tonight in Pittsburgh. Game number 1 went to the Philadelphia Flyers 3-2. Game number 2 tonight out there in Pittsburgh, a 7 o'clock start. The favorites in this game, still the Pittsburgh Penguins, as they were in game number 1. You take a look and think they can win this game, 58 cents the current trading point. A $100 investment pays back $173. The Philadelphia Flyers as the underdog for game number 2. If they can go 2-0 in this series in 2 games in Pittsburgh, that's a 43% chance tonight. That's a $100 investment, pays back $233. We know, Joe, You go down 0-2 in a series, like, okay, we're going back to home ice, let's even it up. You can't go down 0-2 in your own building and expect to win that series.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and we know that maybe the zigzag theory alive and well in the NHL as opposed to the NBA right now. And even the Flyers are talking about, we're going to see a much different Pittsburgh team in game 2 after losing game 1. But there's a couple of guys that I would not go away from in this series at all. I mean, Malkin already showed you what he's all about. He had a monster game. I see him having another big game here against Philly. I think, and the youngster there, Martone, already scored a playoff goal in that first game. I think he's another guy that's going to be extremely dangerous and worth playing for an anytime goal. I just don't happen to think it's going to be as high scoring as the market does, Donnie. So I'm leaning the unders, but I'm also leaning on the guys that we know will likely find the back of the net on both these teams.
Take a look, too, at Pittsburgh. If you think they can win on the puck line, -1.5, which means winning by 2. That's currently trading, Joe, at 35 cents right now. $100 investment pays back $2.86. So what you want, Pittsburgh to be up 3-2 with about a minute to go. Flyers pull their goalie. See if you can get one of those empty netters here to cash that plus money ticket in. We'll find out tonight in Pittsburgh who either takes a series command at 2-0 for the Flyers or even up 1-1 heading back to Philadelphia. Dallas is at home. They're hoping to even this series up against Minnesota, who took game number 1. Game number 2, pretty close here as it's listed. If you think the Minnesota Wild can take a 2-0 series lead, that's currently trading right now at 46 cents for them to win this game tonight. $100 investment pays back $2.18. If you feel that the Dallas Stars can even this series up, Joe, currently trading at 55 cents, that's a $100 investment paying back $182. Minnesota at Dallas tonight.
Yeah, and listen, this was the one series that we all thought, Donnie, was a coin flip one way or the other. I think this series has definitely got zigzag written all over it. I expect a much better effort from Dallas in this game at home. We knew, for whatever reason, Ottinger and Dallas, they don't do well in game 1s to start the playoffs on their own home ice. But I do think we're going to get a much better effort here. I mean, 6-1 was just... It just got away from them there. I think they'll be much better in this game. I'm just going to zigzag my way in this series. I'll have Dallas tonight. I'll have Minnesota in game 3 when they go back home because that's how close these two teams really are.
How about this one, though, Joe? Anaheim at Edmonton here. Oh, look, one of these teams looking for a 2-0 series lead. They haven't played yet tonight, or they haven't played yet in the series, but they will tonight, Joe. This game, puck drop's going to be at 10 p.m. in Edmonton here. The Anaheim Ducks are the underdogs tonight, currently trading at 38% to win this game. So if you put a $100 investment down on an upset for Anaheim, that pays back $264. But Edmonton is the favorite, Joe, and as I know you're looking at it as well, we know Connor McDavid's going to be out there tonight. But I'm hearing news on another superstar that also might be returning to the ice tonight.
Yeah, Draisaitl's been practicing with the team. Looks like he is set to return here for Edmonton, which is not great news for Anaheim. No. I mean, listen, they combined these two teams during the season. The Oilers took 2 out of 3 from the Ducks in the regular season. I think they combined for 11 goals in 2 of those 3 games, and then the other one was a 4-2 Oilers win here. And listen, it's all about Anaheim. Very potent offense, no defense, terrible goaltending. Sound familiar? Because that's exactly what Edmonton is. So I would not be sweating out unders in this series, Donnie. I think McDavid certainly going to be a monster in this series. And that's how I would focus it on. McDavid goal props, now Draisaitl back. But give me the overs across the board here.
7 o'clock tonight, Joe. I will be tuned in to watch my Philadelphia Flyers take on the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight, but a lot of really good stuff. But also, it's like, boy, we got to wait all day long on a Monday. If they're all that fun over the weekend with sports, no, you don't, Joe. There's a Major League Baseball game today at 11:10. That's in Boston. Now, temperature's going to be in the 40s, which is cold, but maybe we get some heat out there on the diamond. Detroit's going to take on the Boston Red Sox today, currently trading as the favorite. It is Boston, Joe, at 57 cents here. So a $100 investment would pay back $176 if you take the Boston Red Sox. But Detroit, on the other hand, is 12-10 in the season, and they are trading, Joe, to win this game 45 cents as the outright winner. A $100 investment pays back $223. Major League Baseball, Patriots Day from Boston. Chilly conditions. What are we thinking here?
Yeah, well, I mean, what we're thinking is that maybe Detroit has finally figured it out here. Winners of 8 of their last 9 Not, Flaherty is actually, I mean, you look under the hood with Flaherty, his numbers have been pretty good here. But the stat that I kept coming back to, Donnie, was just how Boston starters, if they don't go 6 or more innings, Donnie, they don't win. They're 8-0 when their starters go at least 6 or more innings. They're 0-13 if they don't. So I think the whole key to this is how much length can you get out of Sonny Gray in this one? Because if he can limit the damage on an early start, I think Boston's got a good opportunity to bounce back in this one.
We were looking during the early line, Joe. We're looking at, Sonny Gray, some of the statistics I was talking about, just not striking anybody out. And yes, when you're on the Kalshi marketplace here, you can still take those sports book-like bets here, which include strikeout props. Most people like the over, but if you're looking at Sonny Gray today, 6 strikeouts or less, the no contract is 59 cents, which means, Joe, a $100 investment pays back $170 today. So maybe he struggles, it's colder temperatures and doesn't go the distance, but we are finally hoping that the Red Sox bats will start to heat up, Joe, even though the weather temperatures not that great today in Boston.
No, and then that's, hello, welcome to the time of year here. So, and it affects, Donnie, don't forget, I mean, the weather certainly suppresses runs and the ability, even if you get the lift, it's going to suppress it. So, yeah, it's fewer, maybe a little more unders than overs here, unless you're in Colorado, of course.
By the way, like the home run props are suppressed. $100 investment on Roman Anthony to go yard pays back $770. We'll be right
Crazy.
Back on ENE.
The process is closed. Let's call it out for this, right? And is it their fault? You could, they've been just besieged at Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
At the end of the day, LeBron's going to have to put that team on his back. Can he do it? I don't know if he could do it for a 7-game series. Can he give you like 2, oh my goodness, LeBron at 31? Yeah, I think he can give you a couple of those games. But it's about the other guys that have to step up.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Scottie Scheffler, the best golfer in the world. How many majors will he win this year? And if he does get 4, Joe, that's currently trading at 3 cents. So a $100 investment actually only pays back $333 at this point, which is kind of insane when you ask him to win all 4. Joe, I told you already, sticking to my guns. $100 investment on no majors, none over the next 4 this year.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
You build teams in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round, right, Donnie? Yeah. That's where you build. That's where you get the depth. That's where you build the team. So teams looking for draft capital very much could be alive and well in this draft coming up because there's just nobody to mortgage the future for because you need your franchise guy. They're just not in this draft.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The NFL draft is this week. People have some fun. Thursday, Friday, Saturday extravaganza, which obviously round number 1, night number 1 pick per team. Some teams have 2 picks now after making some trades. Some teams probably have no picks after making some trades as well. But the question always comes up, Joe Ranieri, how many quarterbacks are we going to get drafted here, particularly in the first round? Now, you might understand, Ty Simpson might go. Of course, Mendoza is going to go number 1 overall to the Raiders. But the question, Joe, in the Kalshi marketplace, 3rd quarterback drafted in 2026. Not where they're going to go or what round, just who's going to be that 3rd guy. You take a look at the leader right now, it's Garrett Nussmeier here, former LSU quarterback Drew Aller from Penn State. And then there's also Cole Payton listed here. The 2 top guys as that 3rd spot, though, Nussmeier and Aller.
Yeah, and this is really all about, Donnie, who's going to be desperate enough to need a quarterback that would be willing to do something. Likely, I think, early 2nd round. Maybe, is there anybody that's going to be willing to jump up early? I mean, if it's Mendoza and Ty Simpson, then, does Simpson even go in the first round? I tend to think that this kind of, for the third, Nussmeier, Aller, guys that, they're late second, early third round guys, as far as I'm concerned. And I happen to think that it's probably Nussmeier who has the better arm than Aller. Aller doesn't throw the ball well down the field. Nussmeier's got a much bigger arm, which I think is going to matter especially when we're talking about guys getting a shot late second, early third round. So I think he's the favorite for good reason.
Funny when you look at Penn State, too. Like, remember Christian Hackenberg? Oh, this guy's a surefire top 3 pick. He's going to absolutely dominate. Did absolutely nothing. And then Drew Aller coming into last year was like, this guy probably is going to be the number 1 overall pick at quarterback here. Didn't show all that much at Penn State. Now, he's supposed to be possibly the 3rd or 4th quarterback going overall. And where actually that going to be? First round, probably not. Second round, third round, day 2, day 3. We'll certainly find those out. Now, a bigger question comes up, Joe. The second wide receiver drafted in 2026, because we know in the NFL, it's like, Mendoza's going number 1. The thoughts right now is that Carnell Tate, superstar wide receiver from Ohio State, is probably going to be that number 1 overall guy, because in the second wide receiver drafted market, he's at like 33% at this point. Mekhi Lemon's very good, and also Jordan Tyson as well. Any thoughts, Joe, on the second wide receiver in 2026 NFL draft going to go?
Yeah, well, wide receiver 2 here is usually one of the most mispriced ones because it goes, Donnie, where, okay, if Tyson goes 1, then Tate's going to be the second. If Tate goes 1, Tyson is likely going to be second. It's not just, it's all a matter of style and fit, right? For who needs wide receiver help? Because this year's draft is deep. It's not elite, though. And none of these guys are going to be, difference makers here. These aren't guys that are going to come in and change a franchise. They're good players, but they're not elite here, which means don't be shocked. There could be a lot of head scratching going on with some of these guys taken off the board and where they're taking off the board.
Certainly. One thing that teams need here is like an Ed Reed, Brian Dawkins style safety, one of the best prospects to come out in many years at the safety position. That's Caleb Downs, Ohio State, formerly of Alabama. And the favorite to draft him, you just need to get playmakers on your defense here. The New York Giants, Joe, at 51% as a chance on the Kalshi marketplace, followed by the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders. So a lot of, let's just say, NFC East teams creeping towards him, but the Giants sitting in the pole position right now to grab Downs.
Well, defensive need teams, right? I think the Giants, I think the Commanders are certainly in that category. And, the guy is versatile. He's going to be able to do a whole lot of things and play a lot of different hybrid positions. So the question is, which coach runs hybrid defenses that has multiple picks on the defensive in this draft here that needs to rebuild the defense? So he's going to be a guy where it's going to be the best fit by the time it comes down to him. I think the Giants are huge, having picked up that number 10 pick from Cincinnati. But I wouldn't be shocked if the Commanders will also come in and grab him first.
Giants going to be players here, Joe, round number 1 with multiple draft picks here, and also brings up the team that we probably think is going to grab the number 1 wide receiver in the marketplace, Carnell Tate. Do you know who that is? Also listed as the Giants, with a slight favorite over New Orleans here on the Kalshi marketplace at 26% to 24% over the New Orleans Saints, followed by the Cleveland Browns at 21%. We're going to see the Giants with a lot of these top names. Why? He's got two top 10 picks here on night number 1 on Thursday, Joe.
Yeah, he is considered at this point, a lot of the mock drafts, like the safe, high floor wide receiver 2 coming in, not necessarily wide receiver 1, which means he's likely going to go to a team that thinks they can contend and may, needs another weapon, right? And wants to support their quarterback. I don't think a bad team, Donnie, is going to go and get Tate. I think we might see one of those teams as a contender that is looking to build around a quarterback. The Giants, obviously, I think with Harbaugh and now looking to maybe build on both sides and surround them with weapons. Not a bad look, but I don't see Tennessee going out and getting him, if you know what I mean.
Players in the top 3 to be drafted. Well, the favorites here, of course, Mendoza. He's probably going number 1. He's listed at 99%. Alvaro Reese here, 94%. Great player out of Ohio State. And then David Bailey at 71%. Another pass rusher here. Then you get to Francis Mauigoa out of Miami. He's at 19%. Are we just looking, Joe? We know the top 3 are. Or can somebody break through and steal one of those spots? Because our boards, not the same as the NFL team's drafting boards here.
No, and I have said, I always thought, listen, we know Mendoza, so what are the Jets going to do? Well, the Jets, I think, are either Bailey or Reese. It's one or the other. And then from there, Donnie, I think anything is happening. I think the no market on Jeremiah Love, I just don't see him going top 3. I don't know that he's going to go top 10. But a lot of people do. A lot of people think he's going to be, maybe even higher than that. But I think Bailey, Reese, and Mendoza are probably going to be your top 3.
Taking a look at players to be drafted in round number 1. Sure, Reese, Downs, Bailey, Mauigoa. I mean, there's a lot of guys at 99% listed here, but one of the more interesting ones, again, as we talked about, is that quarterback position with Ty Simpson. His contract to go in round number 1, Joe, it's expensive at 72 cents, which means a $100 investment would pay back $139. If you feel that they're not going to overdraft quarterback, Joe, how about a no contract at 35 cents? A $100 investment pays back $286 if Simpson does not go in round number 1.
I don't think he's going in round 1 here. I don't know why a team would waste a draft pick in the first round on a guy that is, he's second round at best, Donnie. I don't know that he goes in the first round. Too many other positions that teams would need to fill here.
We'll find out sooner than later as the NFL draft round number 1 coming up on Thursday night. But soccer advice coming up next. Well, if you want a $150 round trip ticket, I know where to go. We'll be back.
Process is closed. Let's call it out for this, right? And is it their fault? You could argue, they've been just besieged at Embiid, but it just continues, Kevin, right? As soon as he's like, don't worry about my health, and then here we are, right? I would have traded him a couple of years ago. I would have gotten ahead of the curve, Kevin.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
At the end of the day, LeBron's going to have to put that team on his back. Can he do it? I don't know if he could do it for a 7-game series. Can he give you like 2, oh my goodness, LeBron at 31? Yeah, I think he can give you a couple of those games. But it's about the other guys that have to step up.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Scottie Scheffler, the best golfer in the world. How many majors will he win this year? And if he does get 4, Joe, that's currently trading at 3 cents. So a $100 investment actually only pays back $333 at this point, which is kind of insane when you ask him to win all 4. Joe, I told you already, sticking to my guns. $100 investment on no majors. None over the next 4 this year.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
You build teams in the second, third, and fourth round, right, Donnie? Yeah. That's where you build. That's where you get the depth. That's where you build the team. So teams looking for draft capital very much could be alive and well in this draft coming up because there's just nobody to mortgage the future for because you need your franchise guy. They're just not in this draft.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
And then there were 2, Joe, and I don't mean it's Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. I mean the English Premier League winner here, because I'm looking right now at the Kalshi Marketplace and saying to myself, well, Man City is the favorite, Joe, sitting at 58% to win it. Arsenal at 43%. And by the way, you take a look at April the 10th, Arsenal, 85% chance to win on that day, the Premier League. Fast forward to today. They're not even the favorite, Joe. They're down to 43%. Whoa!
That's a big lesson in this market here because the EPL is a grind. It's not a tournament, so to speak. You got to have a lot of depth. You've got to have some injury luck here. And what happens in these markets, Donnie, and you gave the perfect example, is that the market overprices dominant teams early.
Yes.
And underprices the teams within 5 to 8 points late. So this is the kind of market, Donnie, where, yeah, teams that are close within striking distance, not at the top of the table, but they do have easier remaining games on the card here. Those are the kinds of teams and the prices you're looking for. Don't overpay for a favorite because they are all overpriced here in this market.
Let's get to some World Cup action, which looks like it's going to be a fiasco in the tri-state area. Boston's like, yeah, we're going to charge extra money for a train. New Jersey's like, we're going to make it worth your weight in gold to get on this train. And Philadelphia's like, hey, take the train anytime you want. It's probably going to be free, which means, Joe, you might have more money left over if you watch a game in Philadelphia where you can invest in the predictive markets and maybe take the men's World Cup winner. The favorite right now, and it's really close, Spain, 17.2%, France, 17.1%. Then I scroll all the way down, Joe. 2%. USA. Hey.
So this is another one, right? Argentina, who's the defending champs, I believe. You got France. Brazil is another one that the market will look at. It's a 7-game, a whole lot of volatility, a 7-game sprint with a whole lot of volatility, right? So this is another one where you don't want the best team, so to speak, Donnie. You want the team that has a favorable group stage, weaker knockout path, and has some penalty variance coming their way here. Because this is all about the path to the final, Donnie. It's not about the best team, because the best team can get knocked out rather early in this. So I would look for the group stage. Who do I think has the easiest group stage and the weakest knockout path to go? And that's how I would break this down.
Finals to make the World Cup here. Again, don't have to predict who's going to win it. Just predict who's going to get to the final game at MetLife, which, again, is going to cost you a $150 round-trip train ticket when it normally costs on a day-to-day basis around $12 to $13. Spain, Argentina, and France are the leaders right now, with Spain at 29% trading on the Kalshi marketplace, Joe.
Yeah, these are interesting, right? The qualifiers here. So there is usually a whole lot of massive information gaps in this. Lineups rotate. To me, this is a bet about motivation. Desperate teams needing results here. Not exactly public names and public teams, Donnie, that it really doesn't make a difference whatsoever. I think motivation is worth way more than just the pure, they're the more talented team in the qualifier. Doesn't matter. It's a matter of motivation here. And there's a few teams that have it over others here coming up.
Madonna, which was in a movie called Evita, which she sang, Joe, "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." I said, why are you bringing up Argentina? They're one of the favorites to get to the World Cup final. How about Lionel Messi? And as of, Joe, February 8th at 9 p.m. Eastern, he was only at a 63% chance to actually play for Argentina in the World Cup. Fast forward to today, Joe, we're up to an 89% chance. Yeah, like Messi's going to miss the World Cup. Stop the madness. But, Joe, if you feel like he's like, you know what? Just want to be a spectator and watch from the box and sip some champagne, $100 investment would pay back $770 on Kalshi if you feel Messi is not going to play in the World Cup.
Yeah, and this is another one of those great trap markets, right? Because it's Messi, right? So what does the public think, Donnie? Of course he's going to play.
Yes.
But the reality, he ain't getting any younger. You got injury concerns. Is he even a starter anymore? We don't even know if Argentina's going to qualify. I mean, there is a lot to consider here with him. And to me, when we ask questions in markets like this, almost always the value is betting no early, Donnie, and adjusting from there. And I think that's how you have to look here.
By the way, did Messi pick up the phone on February 8th and tell somebody he didn't feel like playing in the World Cup and that info got out? Because that absolute crater on that day. And again, as Joe pointed out, we just talked about a scenario. It's like, hey, this team's going to win the EPL, and it absolutely crashed. We know one thing. People get scared. It's like, oh, it's 92% now. There's no way I'm going to say that yes. You wait for another crater, man, and you can make some cash here on the prediction markets. But Messi, on February 8th, 63%, way up higher. Do we get one more crater again? But, Joe, World Cup, every day we wait, getting closer and closer.
Kind of hard to believe, Donnie, but yes, that'll be here before we know it. Craziness.
And you know what? Another edition of PMA. Be here before you know it. We'll see you tomorrow.